Bow to Blood Last Captain Standing is such a beautiful and breath of fresh air in VR that I can't help but add it to my VR essential list. It feels a bit like FTL in first person and like nothing else in VR right now, so how about we start taking an in-depth look, beginning with objective and gameplay. Bow to Blood is a single-player narrative-driven game where you are a contestant of a game show all about being the last one standing throughout stages of a competition. Each stage will have you collecting, battling, racing, and more with other contestants. Speaking of contestants, expect a lot of interaction with them, where you will get to choose to forge alliances, help one another through the competition, or make enemies, deceive others, or get deceived yourself. I have to mention that the dialogue option tree here makes this game so much more replayable and is implemented amazingly. In one instance, I had helped someone who was stranded and in turn was rewarded later on by having my opponent's ship sabotaged for my race against them, leading to a very easy victory. Those who are most successful are awarded with points which are key to surviving the culling. The culling being where the two lowest scoring contestants are at risk of getting voted out of the competition at the end of each stage. This is why making alliances is very important early on, because you could potentially be saved by those alliances if you ever find yourself in the bottom two positions. The gameplay itself has you as the captain of a ship and its crew, which will have you managing their positions on the ship, giving you a boost to its capabilities. You also have to manage where your power allocations go. Moving it from shield to speed can prove to be the difference of winning and losing a race. Piloting the ship certainly has some weight to it, but it's pretty agile for its size. At no point did I feel like the ship was hard to control. All movement is done by the analog sticks, and to shoot, you just point and shoot at your target. You are also given a pistol to your side for smaller engagements if they arise. Ship activations like the speed boost and overshield are mapped to buttons on your controller, and now that you know how to play, let's move on to features and content. Bow to Blood offers an amazing amount of replayability with no playthrough ever playing out the same way. It's easily the most replayable VR title that I've played so far that isn't based on high score or multiplayer. The narrative behind the game and the contest will instantly feel familiar to you if you're a fan of the Ratchet & Clank series. It follows that cartoon-like voice acting and comedy style. And speaking of voice acting, it's very well done here. Everything from the announcer to your crewmates are hilarious and well written, but also well delivered. That being said, the dialogue between you and the competition will be text-based, and that would be a negative if it weren't for the fact that there's just so much of it. This is all due to the morality system, which I can't emphasize enough is very impressive. For example, one instance I agreed to split the winnings with my competitor in a stage of the competition despite who won that competition, and upon winning, I was still given the option of taking all the points and going back on my word. Choosing to keep my word not only allied me with that specific competitor, but everyone else who was allied with them before. And that really made the competition take on this kind of team battle vibe. What really made it interesting though is that they would start trusting you more and more and helping you out, but you still had the choice of betraying them if wanting to. I also need to mention the variety of objectives and locations. Sometimes you will be searching an area for an object, others will have you chasing down a specific target. The second stage of each day is even better. Some will have you in a race with a competitor or have you surviving waves of enemies alongside another contestant. But as always, betrayal is a common theme here. The wave survival continues for up to 3 rounds, getting progressively harder, but also adding more to the winnings. If you choose to say no, you can take the current winnings and leave your competitor to fend off the next wave by themselves, or they can do the same thing to you. It really makes an interesting dynamic due to the morality system that's implemented, always leading for each round to be a little surprising in one way or another. Next up, let's start talking visuals and immersion. Bow to Blood's visuals are great and follow a bright and colorful cartoon aesthetic. The ships look great and the characters all have unique and well-designed artwork. All the locations are very well designed and look different from one another, giving a good variety of setting for your gameplay. Immersion-wise, the game does a great job at immersing you into its world through making player choice matter, but it is very much a cartoon with a video game-like humor, so don't go in expecting to forget you are playing a game. I also want to mention that I ran into no performance issues. For reference, I'm playing on an RTX 2070 with a Ryzen 2600X CPU. To conclude, Bow to Blood Last Captain Standing is very much a breath of fresh air needed for virtual reality that offers an overall polished experience with a ton of replayability. The gameplay is solid and the dialogue options really bring something new to the table, as your choices really do matter here. My only real complaint is that at the start, it did feel a little bit stomach churning, but I soon got used to it once I got a hold of how the ship handles. If you've been looking for an FTL-like experience or something that gives you choice and dialogue, this game has you covered, and it's super fun and a breath of fresh air, and I can't emphasize that enough. Don't let this one pass you by. Hope you enjoyed the review. Subscribe if you're wanting more content like this. If you've enjoyed the video, please check out below my most recent video, and next to it, what YouTube thinks you'll like best. As always, I hope you have a great day, and always keep on cruising.